And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey. It is Spook Week. It is our Friday show for Spook Week. 3 of the Bigfoot family, Bigfoot Odyssey family, are here tonight. The lovely Miss Daniela produces, co-hosts this show with me all the time,
Yay.
and the lovely Brad.
Oh, you are
Brad
such a
Hatchell
sweetheart. I tell
is
you what,
also here with us.
it's my pleasure.
Well, we knew you were having issues with one of the pups last week, so we missed you.
I was, and it's good to say that the medicine's working, and it seems like she's doing a lot better. So thank you, everybody, for the well wishes.
That's good. We were going to have Brent Thomas from Paranormal Portal on tonight, but he's lost his voice. So prayers for Brent for a speedy recovery, and make sure you go and subscribe to Paranormal Portal. I think they've got like 1,500 shows in the books. So and he has a really good program. What he and I think Don's not with him every night though, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is.
No, I was agreeing with you. Going.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, okay. Well, but what we do have, I've got some stories, some spooky stories, and Brent sent us some stories.
Oh, good.
That he was going to read. It's awfully small and long. This is
You need my glasses?
no.
Which I'm wearing.
I think I'll be all right.
Pair.
I think I'll be okay. But I've got something that I wrote also for my wife that I want to read for her because she's listening. They're all the kids, all the grandkids and nieces and nephews are at our house right now having a slumber party. So all the little ones are there anyway. So she's entertaining the little ones, but she might be listening. If not, she can listen back to it. So I'm going to read that later. But now, Daniela, do you have anything spooky and scary since we've lost our guest?
Not that I can think of. I did. Last time we talked about it. I remember me saying that I've got a hot spot in my kitchen.
Yeah.
It is by the cooker, but it's not the cooker. And I had some bread wrapped in a paper bag today or yesterday, I can't remember. And I had it on top of the cooker, even though the cooker wasn't on. It's like a glass hob on the top. And I went to move it and it was hot on top. The paper was warm on top. There's just something weird going on in the kitchen. And I don't know what. It's like a hot spot.
That is weird.
Yeah. It was warm to touch. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Well, I know for when you lost Barney, for a couple of weeks, maybe even longer, there was this little
started seeing
orb flying around into you. I think some of the viewers noticed it. And
oh wow,
because I didn't notice it.
We'd never had orbs before, Brad, and we'd been doing at least a year, hadn't we? I think at that point.
Yeah,
and
then,
I had to put Barney to sleep, and then when we started doing the show, suddenly start seeing these orbs.
How long ago was this?
Just the end. It was 30th of December 2019.
Oh, okay.
So
wow, that's I believe that our dogs that leave us stay around us.
And actually, something else happened a few months ago because just here is 2 glass doors that go out into a back kind of yard garden, and I had it open. I usually have it open just to get some air in, and the dog kind of wanders in and out as she wants to, and I can hear her. Like I can hear your dogs, Bradley, little paws on the floor. Look at the nails, you can always tapping away.
Right.
And I heard her go outside, and then next thing in this corner of my eye, see her come back in and go into the hallway. And about 2 minutes later, she comes through the back door from the garden. I'm positive it was her.
Mm.
I had to go. What did I see it? Did she go back out again? But I could hear her. So that was weird. That was weird.
That is, yeah, that
Just
probably would have
back end of her go.
freaked me out a little bit. Ghosts don't really bother me. You know, that's Linda ever wakes me up and there's some banging in the house and I go check it out, I'll just be relieved it's not the plumbing, you know.
Well, we have one here that back in the, I think it was the 60s, the family that was living here, their daughter passed away and she was still in high school, and where I am right now, the office is right up above me and no one will be at home and you can hear somebody walking up there. And sometimes you'll be looking and I'll catch something in peripheral vision. And all I've said is, you know, make yourself at home. Just don't scare me. That's the kind of deal I've made with them. But you hear them pretty, you know, all the time. And even Bailey will get up and start growling for no reason. And I mean, just goofy stuff like that.
I think dogs can see things that we can't. Maybe they're even super sensitive to a degree. I think your animals can detect whenever you're hurting emotionally. I believe. I think mine can. Anyway, I'm sure most people will probably feel the same way about their animals, that they can just sense your mood, your emotion.
Yeah, they seem like they're in touch with us. I mean, I could with Memphis, I could just look at him and know what he was thinking, and he could know what I was thinking. It's just one of those randomly cool things that, you know, I'm extremely thankful for.
Miss Debbie wants to know if I still see Our Lady ghost. You know, that's what Linda says. I'm not sure if it's a lady or what. Linda thinks it's the lady that used to live in the house before we did. But she didn't pass away there. She died in the nursing home. But her daughter, Linda bought the house from her daughter. And that's who Linda thinks is. I see something dark. Linda has seen something white, has run into it in the hallway and really startled her. But we could be sitting on the couch watching television. It's all open. The house, Brad, you've seen.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just open. So I can see, you know, peripherally.
That sounds. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I've been there watching television or whatever alone. At least I believe I'm alone, and see this thing walk past. And I thought it was Hunter one day, our 17-year-old son. Walks past. I didn't think anybody was here. Get up, go out, look all through the house. Nobody there but me. So I know and I've seen it coming out of my office. You go down into the kitchen, but you can see across the dining room, across the living room to that. That's the only place I've ever seen it, is crossing that opening to the hallway going in. But Linda's had quite a few experiences. I think she was washing dishes one day. I think she stepped back and thought it was me.
Oh.
Yeah, like felt hands, like, you know, don't go back anymore, stop. Yeah, and turn around and there's nobody there. I mean, that's physical. That creeped me out.
I'm glad mine just, you know, doesn't. I always worry about Halloween that they might get mischievous and scare the bejeebers out of me. But it's, you know, what are you going to do? It's, if you believe in them, you almost just kind of get used to it and you ignore them a little bit.
Yeah.
Let them do their thing.
There. There's Brent, says, I'm here among you. Voice is better, just not strong enough for a show yet. Sorry I couldn't be with you all. No, we're sorry, but we'll have you back when you're well, Brent. If you don't mind joining us to maybe
we've got our Christmas shows, yeah.
Yeah, Christmas. That's right. 12 days of Christmas.
Maybe we'll just do 7. We'll just do the week to Christmas. It's been
the way I've been working, and I know that I'm going to be working through Christmas. So But I'm gonna read this. I actually was able to turn it sideways and make it a lot bigger. It's pretty long. I thought it was long. It's just because the writing was so small. I don't know. Maybe it's not that long. But this is listener email sent to us on the show. All right. It says, first off, I've always believed there are no small experiences. Anything happening that is unexplained is incredibly profound because it is demonstrating something about our world and reality that is so far unknown to us. That really makes every event exciting because it is demonstrating something incredible that is possible, some unknown aspect of reality, and that may become knowledge to us at some future point after serious consideration of these events and study. We may one day be capable of so much more by examining these events. So, if a spoon moves on your table and you remove all the normal causes for a spoon to move, then you are witnessing something incredibly powerful, some unknown potential that exists within our reality, where the laws of physics, as we understand them, can be bent or changed altogether, even though it's just a spoon moving. This is my love of the paranormal and why I'm always excited to do the portal, because I want to understand. Maybe that's an impossibility, but it is still nonetheless my journey. I hope you enjoy these emailed stories that were sent to me on the show and can appreciate the incredible events these people experienced. Incredibly amazing and horrifying. That was awesome, Brent. All right. First is from a listener by the name of Joe. This one is long, but some absolutely incredible spiritual events. My very first encounter with the paranormal was in 1993. At the time, I was a security guard and worked the split shift. 2 nights a week, I worked third shift from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. Ideal. Okay, it's supposed to be ideal. It says idea. Ideal job for college students. The facility I worked at was tucked away in the woods, 2-story building that housed labs, offices, a laboratory, cafeteria, very large building. Every door in this building required a key card for access, which was connected to my computer in the office. My office had a large window in front of my desk that looked out into the parking lot. To my left was the check-in window and door that led out to the hallway. I was sitting at my desk reading a book to the light of a computer monitor, and I had this feeling there was someone watching me. I looked up from my book, and in the reflection of the glass, I could see an old man standing directly behind me in my office. As I slowly turned around, I knew what I wanted to say and began with, I didn't know anyone was here tonight. However, no one was standing there. Even though this was close to 30 years ago, the man's image is etched in my mind like it was yesterday. I would place his age around 60. He had white hair, but was balding in the center. He was wearing a suit and tie. In the time I had been working for the company, I knew every name and face that came through that door. I had never seen this person before. After that incident, I got immediate chills. I turned on every light in the office and went outside and chain smoked for a good hour. I passed it off as my eyes playing tricks on me out of fatigue. Didn't mention what happened to anyone. The next incident, same place, was again reasonably late at night. I had just completed my rounds of the entire facility, and during my walk, I did not run into anyone working late in the night. I sat in my office and plugged away at my Game Boy to pass the time. I heard footsteps coming down the hallway. You could tell by the sound that whoever it was, they were still a good distance from the office. I went through the motions of pulling out the employee log for the person to sign out, indicating that they had been working during the after hours. The footsteps got louder and closer, but my curiosity was making me wonder why this person was taking so long to make their way to my office. I peeked out the door and the footsteps stopped. There was nobody there. I know what I heard. I pulled out the logbook for a person to sign out. Once again, I passed this off as delirium caused by fatigue, kept the matter to myself. The third incident that took place, same facility, happened in the early morning hours. The cafeteria staff had one person that would arrive around 4:30 to begin setup for breakfast. The rest of the staff would trickle in after 5. I walked along with the employee down to the cafeteria to unlock the kitchen door. We entered the dimly lit cafeteria, and the employee I was escorting stopped walking. She just froze. We were about 10 yards from the kitchen door. I asked her, "Did you stop walking because you saw someone walk past the window on the other side of the kitchen door?" She acknowledged, yes. I told her to go back to her car and I'll check the kitchen. The door leading into the kitchen is a strong metal door with a window about 12 inches by 12 inches. The door is always locked unless staff are there. Again, there's nobody in the building, and every door in the facility requires key card access. I opened the door to the kitchen, turned on every light, and again, nobody. One way in, one way out. It was this incident with the witness that convinced me that this place had some activity. I shared the incident with my captain when he arrived that morning, and he went on to tell me about his own personal experience in the building, which were very similar to mine. Excuse me. In 1998, I moved to the Chicago area. I was renting an apartment with a friend of mine in the Naperville area, and we had a pretty nice setup. My bedroom had a walk-in closet that was so big I could have rented it out as a room. The place didn't give me any weird vibes. If I had an opportunity to live there again, I wouldn't pass it up, even after this incident. I've always been a light sleeper. Slight noises will wake me up and make me pause and listen for a moment before attempting to fall back to sleep. One night, my girlfriend had decided to spend the night. We went to bed, and during the night, I woke up to a noise. I raised my head, and although the room was dark, my eyes were adjusted enough to see outlines of furniture, doors, etc. My closet door began to open slowly, and as it opened, I heard a whispered female voice say, "It's just me, go back to sleep." Now, as the door opened, I never saw the figure of a person, just the darkness of the closet. For whatever reason, this has swearing in it, y'all, so I'm trying to take it out. I unfreaking known to me. I accepted the assurance of the voice and fell back to sleep. In the morning, I recalled what I had experienced and asked my girlfriend, "Why were you in my closet last night?" Now, the closet didn't hold any curiosity secrets to a girlfriend, just clothes, no porn, no pictures of ex-girlfriends, nothing condemning. She gave me a look as if I were crazy and insisted that she was never in my closet during the night, and her getting out of bed or getting into bed would have woke me. Very strange. Nothing else happened at this apartment. That was it. In 2010, my wife and I moved into a home in Carroll Stream, Illinois. The previous occupants were the original owners of the home from the day it was built, and my wife was friends with the family. My work day was a pain in the butt. I would wake up at 4 a.m. so I could be on a train at 4:30 to get to the city by 5:30, followed by a bus to get me to work by 6. I did this to avoid a 2-hour drive home from the city to the burbs. Plus, I could sleep on the train. One morning, upon arrival to work, my cell phone rang. It was the wife. Upon answering, she immediately says, "Why are you home?" Now, our dog was a barker at many things. Wind, a fly. Excuse me. After I would get dressed for work, I would shut the bedroom door to keep the dog from coming downstairs. Otherwise, she would bark and wake up my wife. In a non-understanding tone, I said to my wife, "I'm at work. What's going on?" She went on to explain that she was getting ready for work, and the dog began growling. Bedroom door is still shut. She said she had heard someone run up the stairs and stop outside the bedroom door. She said that she called out my name, but I didn't answer, so she decided to call me. I told her to hang up, call the police, and sit tight with the dog with the bedroom door locked. Instead, she opened the bedroom door and let the dog out. When our dog didn't bark, she decided to head downstairs to search the house. Sounds like Linda Joyce Arnold. Every door, every window was shut and locked tight. There was nobody in the house. Same house, couldn't tell you if its next event was soon after the stair event, a week later or two, etc. My wife, dog, and I retired to bed, fell asleep, and woke to the dog growling, which then turned to a bark. Of course, the bedroom door is closed. I began walking down the stairs, and as I'm walking, I can hear our refrigerator chiming, which tells me the doors are open. I get into the kitchen, and our double door fridge is wide open. Now, if this fridge was open for longer than 20 seconds, the chime would go off to tell us to shut the door. After a certain amount of time, though, the fridge would just give up and stop chiming. We couldn't explain this incident. Same house, but something I regret is not trying to capture the source of the sounds on camera or audio. It could have been done. I just didn't think to do it. Sorry, that was a big one. From watching paranormal shows, including yours, of course, they're talking about Brent's show, obviously. There's always talk of residual energy, like a playback of a scene that repeats itself. After the fridge event, I had heard the noise of the staircase myself, and whatever it was, it scared the heck out of me. 2 or 3 nights a week, between the hours of 2:30 and 3:30 a.m., I would wake to the sound of someone running up the stairs and stopping outside our bedroom door. Man, that'll give you chills right there. But what was odd to me was that the dog didn't hear it and the wife didn't hear it. The only other incidents that happened in the house were the sounds of someone running up the stairs. The previous owners have 4 daughters. Even though they are still alive, could they have been the source of the residual energy? I guess I don't quite understand that. But honestly, whatever this was on the other side of the door gave me a fear. I wasn't curious at all. I just wanted out of that house. My other stories relate to my grandparents and an uncle of mine that recently passed away. Perhaps they were only dreams, but I've read that when important people in your life pass away and they want to speak to you, they will talk to you while you are sleeping. This happened to me. My grandfather sends me messages on occasion, and I miss him a lot. My uncle had a lung transplant and was in the hospital for over a year. His new lungs eventually would become infected and had caused his demise. My aunt and cousins took his loss very hard and still do. My uncle came to me and said, "Tell my family that if they ever want to talk, I am listening." It was such a strong message, but it's hard for me to decide if I want to tell them about this. Was it just a dream? And this is Jamie's story here. My last story I want to mention relates to my current home in Lombard. I live next door to a funeral home, which sounds morbid and almost like an invitation to more BS. But in my time here, I haven't experienced anything. So before I had met my wife, I had gone on a couple's date with someone that just happened to have worked at the funeral home next door to me. She would do the makeup for the deceased. She had told me a story that shakes me up every time I tell it because it involves a child. A little boy was brought into the funeral home. My friend was prepping him, and the boy's parents had stopped by. They dropped off his favorite blanket and his teddy bear and asked if she could make sure these were with their son during the night. He may be scared without them. My friend ended up staying late into the evening, and as she left and got into her car, she realized she forgot to leave the blanket and the bear with the little boy. She rushed back into the funeral home in tears and panic and immediately placed the blanket and teddy bear by the little boy. She apologized to the little boy, and afterwards she said the lights went off and came back on as if it was acknowledging her apology. not a flicker, off and then back on. 2. This is Raul's time slip story. Time slips are these amazing and weird events where people seem to slip through time, such as an hour drive that unexplainably took 15 minutes, or even such as finding yourself suddenly in the same place you expect to be, but 50 years in the past. There are even accounts of people allegedly finding themselves in a future timeline. I would like to share a story of a possible time slip that happened to me about 7 years ago. I used to live in Garden Grove, California. My mom lives in Anaheim, the home of Disneyland and the Angels baseball team, which is right next door. I would go to her house every Wednesday to have lunch before I would go to work. I took the same route every time, down a major street called Cafeteria, which runs along the side of Disney. Anyway, this particular Wednesday, it had been raining, so the sky was all overcast and gloomy. I left the house around 11 a.m. It would usually take me about 15 minutes to get to my mom's house, depending on the traffic. Even though she lived about 5 miles away, it could take up to an hour sometimes with the traffic and bad weather. I crossed the major intersection, a street called Brookhurst, and I felt like I just woke up, like I had been daydreaming or something and just snapped out of it. I had been driving no more than 5 minutes when this happened. I felt lost and disoriented. I just could not get my bearings. I looked around and did not recognize anything. I thought to myself, I must have not been paying attention and took a wrong turn somewhere, but that couldn't be because I barely left the house. When I thought I may have been having a stroke, there was a radio commercial playing around the time for things to look for to identify a possible stroke. I did a quick self-check and decided I wasn't stroking out. I slowed down and looked around and could not recognize anything, not one building. Now, mind you, I'd been driving down this exact same route every Wednesday for several years and knew every building, fast food joint, and car wash along the way. I can only close my eyes. I can close my eyes and still see everything. This particular day was like my first day on this road. Then I realized that there were no people walking around, which is so strange because it had been raining before, which is not so strange because it had been raining before. But then I realized that there was no car traffic, nothing on the road but me. That was really strange because, like I said, particular streets run along Disney, so there's always traffic, always. I kept on driving slow, looking around. Then I started feeling scared. I could feel a major freak out building up. So I picked up the speed a little bit. My head was like on a swivel, looking left and right, just trying to identify one thing. I had probably driven about 3 miles, about 5 minutes, when the light ahead turned red. I slammed on my brakes and flashed and fishtailed into the intersection. When I looked up, I instantly realized where I was at, across the Buddhist temple. If you look up, everything was back to normal, including pedestrians and car traffic. Somebody honked because I was blocking traffic, so waved a sorry gesture and took off to Mom's house. I told a few people about this, but they all thought I was full of crap, so I stopped telling it. Please feel free to use this if you like it. It's 100% true. I believe it happened to me anyways. Raul. So in closing, I am very sorry I could not be here myself, but I wanted to thank Carrie and Daniela for the invite. It pains me not to be able to do this in person, but thank you all, and I hope you all have an amazing Halloween. Brent. Thank you, Brent. That was awesome, buddy.
That was good.
Yeah, they were.
Absolutely fantastic.
Now, in between, when I was chasing a dog, did he mention something to the effect of, having a conversation with somebody that was deceased?
Yes.
In a dream.
Did that. I talked to my mother on the phone in a dream 2 weeks after she died. I don't remember what was said. I just remember it's been 22 years, but I just remember telling everyone
Ooh,
that
that just gave me chills.
Talked to my mom on the phone. She had called me in my dream. Now, I still dream to this day sometimes that my parents are still alive. Back in our old house in Lumberton, Mississippi. It's just vivid dreams that I can actually remember.
The reason why I asked that is because my grandfather's he passed away about 30 years ago, and I still have dreams where I talk to him, and sometimes I won't talk to him for several months. Other times I'll talk to him a couple times a week in a dream. And it's really, I think about it kind of almost as normal now. Don't other people talk to people that are past in their dreams?
Look, I've heard of other people doing that, absolutely, but mine was just on the phone. It was just so clear and vivid, even though I don't remember exactly what she said. I just remember being on the phone with my mom.
And I always wake up afterwards trying to remember what conversation we had, and I never can remember it. I can remember where we were when I was talking to him, but I can't remember what was said. And that's one of the things that's frustrated me forever is I always try to remember that conversation. But I know I spoke to him, but I blank out on it.
I remembered something out here. When I first started working out here, I had a bunch of camera equipment, and I've always had some kind of camera. It was a decent microphone on the camera, but there was an old farmhouse on one of these locations, and it had it was caved in like a shack. And so I just walked in and I got my camera. I'm filming around. I think I might have been working nights, and it was during the day. But when I listened back to it, then I could hear someone talking, but they were speaking Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of, you could barely hear it, but it was someone, and I was the only one there. There was someone speaking Spanish. So I think someone was there, maybe talking to me. Maybe it was something residual. Who knows? I'm not sure how any of those things work.
And sometimes ignorance is bliss and stuff like that, or at least the way that I feel. I feel like if I investigate too much, I don't want to go there.
Right.
I'm okay with, like the ghost. As long as she didn't scare me, she can do whatever she wants to do, and I'm okay with it. I know sometimes I'll wake up and I'll see something, and then I'll try to focus in on it, and it kind of takes me a while, and then they're gone. And it's not alcohol related or anything like that. It's, not all the time. Sometimes I have a feeling like something is watching me. And Mary, she it hasn't happened to her, but for me it does. Or else, a dog will lift its head up like something's there, and then when a dog moves, I always move. So it's I think it's interesting correlation, since we're into Halloween's on Sunday and Day of the Dead?
Day of the Dead.
Oh, what am I thinking? It's what the Mexicans celebrate on Halloween.
It is Day of the Dead, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they're celebrating.
Yeah, where at midnight on October 31st, you celebrate the ones that aren't with you anymore.
Okay.
Because supposedly, or what is believed is, they come and visit on that day at that time. So people leave out, spreads for them. Some people put up a bunch of pictures of their lost family members just to welcome them, make them feel at home. So it's, it makes sense. I mean, everything makes sense, I guess, in a way. As long, if it's happened to you, I guess.
Well, we try to make sense of it.
But a lot of people believe it in Texas.
Yeah. Hey, look, whatever whatever you have to do, I think, to deal with losing. You know, I did my own things. So I've got these shorts, and they're I can't remember where I got them, but I thought they were just cool little creepy stories. I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but this one here is called Hands, and they're really short. This one's called Hands. The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck. Mr. Weatherby, all your tests have come back negative, and my examinations show nothing abnormal. Adam knew what was coming next. I'm not crazy, doctor. I'm sorry, but there's no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help. I don't need therapy. I need answers. They seem to have a life of their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point. After 2 weeks of a new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctor said, it was not a physical problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled to the garage and started the table saw, then slowly lowered his wrist toward the screaming blade. Detective Armstrong entered the garage where several uniformed officers stood over a blood-soaked body. So what do we have? He asked, taking in the blood-splattered scene. This is a weird one, Detective. Well, how so? Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands with the table saw and bled to death. Armstrong knelt down, and we can't find his hands anywhere.
Hmm.
That is strange.
Like I said, probably not true. I love this one. This one was so cool right here.
Let me get these comments out before they go. Just going back to what you were saying, Brent says, many believe that the veil between our worlds and the next world is thinnest on Halloween. So, Pam says, my mom had been in a coma and she saw my brother at the end of the bed. But what she didn't realize was that he had been killed while she was in a coma.
Ooh.
That's a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, look.
That's trippy.
I wonder how much of this stuff we manifest just by giving it so much thought and so much, are we ascribing power to something and causing, even if it's minor, these things to happen when on a collective, like there's a day like Halloween, and what happens? It's scary movies and scary stories, and do we, do we ascribe power to these events and make them happen ourselves?
It's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be interesting thought. Anyway,
we do attract things, can't we?
The one thing I've always thought about with for instance, a dream about my grandfather. I was really, really close to my grandfather, and so it just makes you, if sometimes you obviously miss people that have gone to the other side, but if you miss them a lot, is that your way of remembering them by dreaming about them?
Yeah, could be. Look, I try to remember when I dream about my parents. I really try to remember and think about it. Am I getting some kind of message here? But it's always just something bizarre. I mean, it's a dream. It's my head. So it's absolutely bizarre. You have any more?
Well, this actually kind of plays into what you've just kind of said here. Texas Jack says, after my granddad passed, I had one. He had Alzheimer's most of my life, so it's the only lucid conversation I ever had with him as a grown man. I haven't had one since. Felt like it was his way of saying goodbye. Maybe it is how we deal with it, a coping. And, even when we're asleep, the brain's still working, isn't it? The stuff's still going on that we have to process. So who knows? Maybe it's easier in your sleep, in a different state to do this.
Or is it your suppressed emotions
coming out
when you in that part of sleep?
It's strange, isn't it? There's no rhyme or reason.
Aaron Billings says Halloween goes back to the Celtics, where on October 31st, when the veil is thinnest, they would have human sacrifice in the ancient deity ball. I can't look.
I read say that like a Bostonian ball.
I read okay, but I don't pronounce very well. So this is called the Brave Ones, and I just thought it was very cool. It says, "Here they come again, the Brave Ones. Another Halloween night, and the kids are back, here to prove their fearlessness. The old house's floorboards creak beneath their sneakers. Only half an hour till midnight, so I have to work fast. I start with their flashlight, blowing lightly against it, making it flicker, but this inspires little more than a nervous giggle. 15 minutes until midnight, time to take things up a notch. I hover up to the ceiling and will my body into flesh. My every nerve is on fire, but they've given me no choice. I force drops of blood to trickle out my nose, but the boys below do not notice. I knock against the ceiling, but they won't even look up. I thought this place was supposed to be haunted," said the leader. "What a joke. 5 minutes until midnight. I'm running out of time. With the last of my strength, I scream so loud that they finally turn to look up at me. I like to think I put on a good show. I sway on an invisible noose, and the blood flows freely from my nostrils now. A couple of drops hit the skinny one with a crew cut. The boys scream and run into the night. Just in time. Below me, I hear the thing turn. This disappointment is palpable. For now, it sleeps, but one day I will fail. The boys will be too brave, and I won't scare them out in time. One day, they will wake the beast, and I won't be able to protect them." I thought that was so cool.
That's creepy, kind of.
Yeah, these little stories, these little shorts are absolutely creepy.
You know what they remind me of, though, is when you remember when the original Halloween came out?
78.
The original movie, yeah. I went with my brother and saw it when the original one came out, and it scared me so bad that when you're saying these stories, I keep going back to flashbacks of watching that on the big screen, just being scared blankless.
I was 5, so I did. I'd seen it, but not so much later. I think we actually got cable in Lumberton in 82 or 83, and they had HBO, and that's all I did was when I wasn't having to read something, was I got to watch HBO.
Yeah, no, that was big time.
Oh yeah, here's a cool little short one right here. This is called "Counting on Fingers." My daughter woke me around 11:50 last night. My wife and I had picked her up from her friend Sally's birthday party, brought her home, and put her to bed. My wife went into the bedroom to read while I fell asleep watching the Braves game. "Daddy," she whispered, tugging at my shirt sleeve. "Guess how old I'm going to be next month?" "I don't know, sweetheart," I said as I slipped on my glasses. "How old?" She smiled and held up 4 fingers. It is now 7:30. My wife and I have been up with her for almost 8 hours now, and she still refuses to tell us where she got them. The fingers.
It's getting creepier.
Yeah, these look, they're short. So I'm gonna do one more of these, and then I got something I want to read that I wrote. This is called Wallpaper. Now this is pretty sick. Kind of. We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom, for instance. while I'm on wallpaper removal duty. The previous owner papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal, but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel, similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn.
Ooh.
I don't know about you, but I kind of make a game of peeling, on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and a date. Curiosity got the best of me one night. Person. The missing date matched the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one text say, "Yep, it's human." Human? What's human? Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls? This isn't wallpaper you were removing.
Ooh. That's that's like I'd like to hear Anthony Hopkins read that one in his Silent of the Lambs voice.
All right, Clarice. Hello, Clarice.
I tell you what, I don't know of a scarier movie than that one. I know there are some, but that was one that was just so real and there. Anyway, I diverged.
Well, we got about 14 minutes. I want to read this. That's what I wrote for my lovely wife. Kind of. Before I had a face-to-face with a monster, I wasn't exactly an atheist, but I tried to be. I questioned the divine nature of even existing. I mean, how could there be a God? How could a loving creator let this happen to me? I had become audacious, and I was mad at him. I was so wearied by loss that I rebounded into the most arrogant, self-centered, contemptuous person you'd never want to meet. I knew everything about life and nature, and there was not a soul on this planet that could tell me anything. Again, I was not always that person. I had a family, but I was all I believed I needed. I was a shell, a shallow, vacuous, empty vessel, and was in pain. It's a terrible combination to be so miserable yet so self-assured, not to be able to see the point of it all. Nothing had meaning, not my life, not my job, not my family, nothing. Life would have been so much easier if I woke up every morning to a man beating me with an axe handle, because I'd at least know where the pain was coming from. Still, no one was going to be able to convince me I was hurting for any reason other than I am a victim of life. I wasn't going to let anyone close enough to convince me. I was far too resistant to any notion that I was wrong about anything to accept advice from anyone. The only thing that would drive me from my own depths would be exactly what happened to me. I needed a true wake-up call, and there's not a person in this world that can tell me it was by chance. Not now. Me, still being who I was in my own mind after that, but you can bet I was praying to God quite hard to get me out of there when it happened. I pondered deeply. This creature is not supposed to exist. How is it possible that I missed something so significant? Though the signs were around me the whole time, kept coming back to me like ripples hitting the bank after a large rock is thrown into the water. My resistance to being wrong did not die easily, but I did give in. However, after I had this horrific, life-altering, near-death experience, or so I believed at the time, life would not get any better for some time, but I was still different. I had changed. I had no choice. I couldn't be who I was and do the things I did before. I had felt fear in being confronted by one of these creatures, real fear. I had been humbled to the point where it changed the way I thought, the way I saw myself, and the way I treated others. I had started becoming more open to things, ideas, concepts of life and nature, and how it all works in harmony. Still, I was not whole. Though obsessed with finding out all I could about these beings, I was holding it in, and it was taking a toll. This tends to happen when you deny yourself full acceptance of something you know to be true. I was quickly finding a new reason to wallow in my own self-pity once again. But once again, God intervened. He brought to me the one person he knew would understand and accept who I had become, to the one that would believe the unbelievable, to a nurse, and a damn good one. Someone with a bedside manner, disciplined, principled, and caring to the human condition. He led me to my wife, Linda Arnold. She knew what I needed to be myself, and I knew I needed her. I'm still a man, imperfect and fallible. That old, arrogant, smart aleck still pokes his head out from time to time. I think those that don't know me see that sometimes and think that's who I am, and it turns them off. But I can't worry about that. I can only continue to see those shortcomings in myself and do what I can to repair it. Mending oneself is never easy, but having someone that understands your perplexity makes it a short task at times. Having Linda makes it possible for me. I owe a lot to my wife, and I do all I know to help her through her plights in life, too. God loved me enough to drag me through hell so he could see how wrong I was, and in so doing, left me in the hands of an angel. I will never give up trying to do what I believe is right, to do everything I can to bring to light the truth that these creatures, these beings, do exist. As trivial as it may seem to many, people deserve to know that truth. And for me, it all had to happen the way it did, or I would have never even tried.
Wow.
Sorry, I was muted. It's really good.
I tell you what, knowing you as well as I do, I mean, that was beautiful.
Oh, well, thanks.
You're fluffy. Underneath the 6'4" exterior.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
No, that's good. That's a good thing, though. So I've been told.
Yeah,
now,
well, I need to do that for her, and I wanted everybody to hear that, because everybody's heard what's happened to me enough to know exactly what I'm talking about, when I read that. So,
no, that's beautiful, Kerry.
yeah, well, I felt like I didn't need God, that I would create my own values. And you can do that, fine. But if you're true to yourself and you are a human being and you break a moral rule, a moral code, you can try to forgive yourself, but it's always going to stay with you. It did for me. It wasn't until I brought God back into the picture that those things left immediately. So I couldn't do it myself. Maybe some people can, but I couldn't. I tried. And it was nothing more than difficult.
I think we all try. We all think we're strong enough to do that, and I tip my hat to you, because that's, I always say that I rescued dogs, but in reality, they rescued me, and I can relate to where you're coming from with that. And forgive obviously my wife is the one that got me for being so ornery and cranky and grumpy Brad and all the other things that she calls me when I get twisted off. But that's, sometimes it takes something, a person like that to make you realize, oh, where was I 10 years ago mentally? Wow, I was an asshole, pardon my French. But I mean, that was, as I said, that was beautiful. I'll drink on that one.
Thank you, John. Well, I had something in my head and I forgot what it was. It was on the tip of my brain and then it just left.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, we've only got a few minutes left in the show. So tomorrow night, we're going to have Eric from Media Palace. He's going to be joining us. If you haven't ever seen Media Palace or subscribed, thank you, Head Carter. Appreciate that very much. Go check it out. He's going to be here with us tomorrow and Sunday, Halloween. You know, we had traditionally Wes Germer and Tony Merkel. They've done the last 2 Halloweens with us, but I haven't been able to get with Wes. I know he's really busy getting shows out. So this time we're going to have Nance Warren from Buckeye Bigfoot is going to be joining us, and she's going to bring a couple of scary Bigfoot stories. So that'll be 7 o'clock p.m. Central Sunday for all you Halloweeners and trick-or-treaters. You know, Nance is going to go full out. I'm sure she's going to find something. She read the 2. I sent 2 stories from the book that was written by Brad Bertelli, the Skunk Ape Files. I sent 2 of them to her, and I sent 2 of them to Cam Buckner, and I got those are in the film, just as transitional material. And just the way she read those, it's not the same as her telling a story on her channel. Cam did the same thing. They're just different. You'll when you guys get to finally see it, whenever that'll be. You'll see.
That was funny, Daniela.
New Year's not far away, is it?
No, you know, we may just go ahead and make it a full year. Why not?
Why not? Do it on the 1st of January.
Well, look, this is the first time I've actually felt decent in a couple of weeks. Was today. Even yesterday, I wasn't feeling great. And the voice wasn't really. And when you have to do the narrations, I couldn't look at it. My head had hurt for a whole week. Then Linda came, so she just left. So working all day, coming in, getting on it is just, it's hard to do. It is. It's difficult, but it's pretty close. I like it. I watched the first half of it last night. I'm pretty proud of it.
Well, I know you won't release it till you're 100% happy with it. And there's a lot there to make, you know, for you to be happy about, in the sense that there's so much material that I know your mind keeps thinking you'll do one thing, and then the next thing you'll go, should I have done it this way? And that keeps going and going and going and going.
Yeah, that 6-minute, 41 seconds that everybody saw, that's already changed. So sorry. The boogers haven't. That's still in there. But the way it was that I worded everything in that first part in the intro, because that's going to be the intro to every episode. You know, not the 6 minutes, but the drone footage with that intro. So
that's awesome drone footage.
With that in mind, I went back and did it a little bit different. So, but hey, look, we got 2 minutes. Anybody else got a story, anything they want to put out there? Spooky, creepy, scary? What we got?
I haven't got anything. I'm so dull.
You got the lights. You got the lights really on.
I'm waiting to see the ghost, if she'll come out and say howdy, but she hasn't. She's probably shy.
Damien K says, Kerry, who's that guy behind you?
Yeah, okay, Damien.
Okay. Yeah, don't look.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear the chick.
Just that's cool. And
Damien actually does some pretty interesting stuff with his channel. He sends me links. A lot of people send me a lot of links, but I try to catch his whenever he sends them to me. So kind of interesting stuff that he does there. So if you guys go check out Damien K, you might like it.
Yes, you should.
All right. Well, okay. Sorry again about Brent. I really hope you get to feeling better soon there, buddy. Get that.
Definitely.
Get the gargle. Salt water, honey. I don't know what people, lemon, honey, and bourbon.
Whiskey.
Or just throw the lemon and the honey out and drink a bunch of bourbon. It'll be all right.
That'll usually knock it out.
Definitely.
But y'all want to say bye?
Bye.
Good night. Good evening.
Yeah, good night. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, yeah. Good morning for you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us here tonight. Tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central. Eric from Media Palace is going to be with us, and we hope to see you guys then. So
Same bat channel.
Same bat channel. So y'all take care and have a good weekend.
Good night.